Hey everybody, Bryce Koon here today, and we are so excited to talk to you about the Atlanta Braves trade deadline recap. I'm going to tell you why I think Atlanta left August the 2nd feeling like they were winners, might be big winners as we head to the last half of the regular season. That and more on today's episode of The Crowded Booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.
Hey everybody, my name is Bryce Koon. So thankful that you tuned in today as we have an episode talking about the Atlanta Braves. It has been a while with college football season right around the corner, the Braves heating up post-trade deadline. We want you to encourage you to hit a sub right here on the channel. We want to make it about you. This is a sports talk show all about you. This is The Crowded Booth. Follow us on social media and hit us over at thecrowdedbooth.com where you can find all of these episodes as well. Well, listen, the trade deadline is gone away, and I'm excited to talk to you today about the fact that I think the Braves might have left winners. They might have left winners from the August 2nd trade deadline. We're going to talk about that and more, but I want to give a quick shout out to a couple of our sponsors, Climate Control Heating and Air Conditioning. They just re-upped here in the Chattahoochee Valley area, which is where we're located. And if you're listening over on radio at WQEE, whether it's in East Alabama or West Georgia, we appreciate that as well. And if you're watching on some YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the notifications bell as we talk a little bit about that as well. Well, let's start right with it. I'm going to tell you why I think Atlanta left winners of the trade deadline. Let's talk about that haul. We're going to start off with the trade for Robbie Grossman. Now, Robbie Grossman, obviously, a lot of people were saying if this trade was made last year, then this grade for it probably gets an A+. But Grossman has obviously really struggled. Atlanta gave up Chris Anglin, not a big piece to the puzzle right now. He had a 2022 OPS, or he has one currently, of plus 73, or OPS plus of 73. But this is the thing they got him for. And I think we saw it with Eddie Rosario last night, or 2 nights ago. I'm sorry, it's last night. This is coming out here on Wednesday with a 5 RBI game. If he starts to see righties better, you might have found the perfect platoon partner in Robbie Grossman to work some magic out there in left field with Rosario. Why, you say? Well, Eddie Rosario has, obviously we know what he can do, but Robbie Grossman is still hitting 364 with a 999 OPS against lefties. And I think that's why it makes him a great platoon partner. And we also see this in previous years, and obviously last year standing out with what the Braves were able to do, is if you can get in and tinker with a guy. You kind of remember where Rosario was banged up for a month and then came on, obviously what he did. Jorge Soler was batting sub 200, and where he finished up as a hitter. A change of scenery from a team that's not in contention to a World Series contender in the Atlanta Braves can do a lot, but also the Braves show a track record of bringing in guys, fixing some of the mechanical stuff, and I think that speaks loads about what they could do with Robbie Grossman and where he could go. And obviously we know Grossman, a decent defender as well out in left field. I like that trade, and I think this deserves at least a B to B plus grade with the potential to move in the A category because of what the coaching staff could do. Can Kevin Seitzer sit down with him? Can he do some things, work with him to be able to change some things? We'll see if that happens as well. Let's move to the second trade that we saw, and this one was, he's a fan favorite in our book because we've had him on the show. Trey Harris, the outfielder, the 2019 Offensive Minor League Player of the Year for the Braves, traded the Washington Nationals for a familiar face. Ehire Adrianza was traded over here. He's an upgrade over Robinson Cano and possibly Phil Gosselin, in my opinion. But I think there were better bench targets out there. He obviously has a lot of versatility, but I think that's probably where the value ends with him. This is obviously not one of the sexier trades the Braves brought in, but I think what he does is it's a familiar face. They knew they liked him in the clubhouse. He commanded some respect. He was also a good glue guy, and that's what you need when you get down to that 25th, 26th, 27th, 28 roster spots where you have to make some changes is how does this guy fit in the clubhouse? The guys know him. They like him. Let's roll with it. Then let's get to the one that kind of excited part of the fan base and then was a head scratcher for others. The Braves get rid of Will Smith. Braves trade left-handed reliever Will Smith for Jake Odorizzi, and I think this is a very, I'll say it, savvy trade by Alex Anthopoulos. And I know we've used that term a lot before, but he moved an expensive piece who had kind of fallen out of favor in the Braves bullpen while getting a piece back that I don't think the upside is, A plus for what Odorizzi can do, but I think that he could play a role indirectly with what Atlanta wants to do. And I want to remind you this: Spencer Strider is a quickly approaching unfamiliar territory when it comes to innings pitched of what they want to do. You also look at how Ian Anderson has struggled. Charlie Morton could, how is he going to factor? We know the must are Kyle Wright and Max Fried there. But I think with what he was able to acquire a guy that could take a load off of Strider and Anderson, allow them to kind of, independently. Strider's been very, very good, almost elite as a pitcher, starting pitcher this year. But you could obviously save him for later in the season. Ian Anderson, he could build off of an impressive start he had last time out. Odorizzi has really just been a solid 3 or 4 starter, maybe 5 starter his entire career. And I think especially over the next couple of weeks with a pair of doubleheaders, including this Saturday in New York against the Mets, that's where his value will shine. So if Ian Anderson doesn't turn things around, he could fill the 5th spot in the rotation. I don't think that Odorizzi is going to start a postseason game for the Braves, but the role that he will play in bridging the gap to get from August the 3rd now to the postseason, that could pay huge dividends. And so that's why I like this Drake Odorizzi trade. And you get rid of an expensive piece, and in turn, you get to bolster the bullpen with the next trade that the Braves have. And I like this one as well. Jesse Chavez, who had really been a solid reliever ever since coming over from the Cubs earlier this year, the trade with Sean Newcomb. You also get rid of a young left-hander in Tucker Davidson. Davidson was kind of a quad-A player at this point. He had done a lot at the AAA level, but hadn't really put it together at the major league level. So you turn those two pieces, a veteran middle innings guy and a guy in Tucker Davidson that some of the team like the Angels would want to take a flyer on, for a guy that has been one of the best closers in baseball since his debut in 2015 with Cincinnati, and that is Raciel Iglesias. One of the biggest needs, and in my opinion, the biggest need heading into the deadline was getting a right-handed high-leverage arm. And the Braves and Alex Anthopoulos pulled off another savvy move because he's able to get one of the top ones in the game. Now, listen, some are going to look at the ERA. They're going to scratch their heads. They're going to say, but he doesn't walk a ton of batters. That's key. And he strikes out a lot of them. That is key for me. And this is the exact type of pitcher that you want coming out of the bullpen if you are Braves fans. And like I said, to give him, you just give him a veteran reliever in at Jesse Chavez and a back-end starter in Tucker Davidson. The only reason I think that you couldn't give this trade an A+ is maybe because of the money. They're going to be on the hook for the $10 million left this year and the $16 million over the next 2. Correct me on that in the comments below if we're wrong on that. But I think this trade for Raciel Iglesias was absolutely what Atlanta needed. I think it's perfect with what they're trying to do, what they want to do going forward. And overall, I think this trade deadline was very successful. When you look around at what other teams did, obviously, and I think Alex Anthopoulos said this best, when you look around at what other teams did, they bring in, obviously, that San Diego did what they did. They brought in Josh Hader and Juan Soto and Josh Bell, as well as a couple other pieces, Brandon Drury as well. LA is going to be there. The Mets did what they're going to do. But this is a Braves team that didn't have a lot of holes to fill. They really didn't. And the holes that they did have, I feel like they did a good job of doing that. Could they go on for a higher profile bench bat? Yes. But like Alex Anthopoulos said in his press conference yesterday, post-trade deadline, we feel good about the club we have. We wanted to make some auxiliary pieces to be moved, and we had to do it for the future. And I think that's where we saw the Raciel Iglesias trade come in, because that's a guy that could be your closer for the future. He's 32. He's affordable if he continues to pitch at the level that he has previous years, and who knows? This pitching staff, maybe they can sit down with him. Maybe he's able to figure some things out. He will not be asked to be the guy. And I think that is really important right now. A guy like Kenley Jansen, if Tyler Matzik can round back into form. Jackson Stevens has been a stud at the bullpen. There's a lot of really good pieces in this bullpen, and now it's a little more balanced out. I love what Atlanta did at the trade deadline. I think they left as big winners just so because they're going to walk. They know who they are. And without any regard, they're still the defending World Series champions. Padres go out and make their moves. That's great. The Dodgers do what they're going to do. The Mets do what they're going to do. But at the end of the day, they're all still trying to play catch up to the defending World Series champions, because Atlanta's going to hold on to that. They're going to make the postseason. It's going to be tough. San Diego is going to have to really play a mixture of probably the Mets or Braves in round 1. And then they're going to have to play the Dodgers. And then they're going to have to probably play the Mets and Braves in round 3 in the NLCS to even get to the World Series, where you could face one of the Yankees, the Astros, or anyone else that dares to come out of the American League. I think Atlanta left in a good spot. They're positioned well to continue their upward trend. And we really didn't talk about the best deal they made was extending Austin Riley, who enters the next line of Braves greats who will most likely finish his career as an Atlanta Brave. After the past couple of 8 months, I really like what Atlanta did there. This has been an episode of The Crowded Booth. My name is Bryce Koon. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you want to talk baseball, you want to talk more about your Atlanta Braves, whether it's on the radio, whether it's here on the YouTube channel, make sure to let us know down in the comments. Hit the subscribe button as well, because I'm telling you, that helps us and it helps you as well to know when we are live once again. That's all the time we have for today. My name is Bryce Koon. The Atlanta Braves left the deadline as winners, and you heard why today on today's episode of The Crowded Booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.